Hello everyone. In this session, I would like to discuss about the box model in CSS. Let me open Visual Studio Code. Just create one HTML file. Test.html. Just write some piece of code. Okay. I want to write some content by using div tag. Just place the content. There has one more element also. You can write para. Okay. This is another element with the content of Dhoni. Just run this. Open with the live server. Okay, my Sachin and Dhoni visible to the end user. Now open the developer window. Open the developer window. Go to my elements tab. Open body. If I click on the div, come to the right side. Come to the right side. If you observe here, there has one box you can find on the right side. That box we can say, okay, not only for div, for each and every element in your elements tab. That means in your HTML, how many elements are there? Each and every element has their own structure, has their own structure. Okay, now if you take the body, okay, if you take the head, if you take the HTML, each and every element has their own box or not. Each and every element has their own structure or not. This structure is going to represent like a box model in your CSS. Okay, how many parts are there in your box model? Means there has 4 parts are there. There has 4 parts. What are those means? One is like content of your element. Another one is like border, border of your element. The next one is like padding. The next one is like margin. Each and every element contains these 4 parts. These 4 parts. First of all, content. What is content? Means very simple thing. What is visible to the end user by using that element? Okay, that one we can say like a content or not. So this part we can say like a content part. This part we can say like a content part. The next one, padding is there. Okay, before discussing the padding, what is the border? What is the border? Means just it's going to represent the bounds of your element or not. It represents the bounds of your element. So for example, if you take this div, I want to give the border. If you give the border 2 pixel solid red, see this? This is my bound. Okay, my two bounds are not. See, this one is left side, and this is my top boundary, and this is my right boundary, and this is my bottom boundary or not. Okay, my border which represents the bounds of your element. So the next one is like a padding, a padding. If you observe here, see this. For my div, I applied a border or not. See the border applied. Okay, left, top, right, bottom, all these 4 sides applied or not. Now this is my content and this is my border. In between what we have, in between I have the padding or not. So how you can define the padding? Means very simple thing. The gap between my border to my content, we can say like what? Padding or not. The gap between my border to my content, that one we can say like a padding or not. My padding also we can apply 4 sides. See this. This is my left side and the top side and right side and the bottom side. So if you want to apply some padding for this particular div, say this, my padding left 50 pixel. If I apply, say this, my 50 pixel padding applied. The gap between what? My border to content, left side 50 pixel is there or not? See this. This is my left boundary. From here to here, my content is this one. The gap between my border to content is nothing but a padding. Now I apply which padding? Padding left or not? Like this, I can apply the padding for 4 sides also. My padding right, okay, 50 pixel you can apply. Now see this, my padding right 50 pixel is my padding right or not? See, there has some different color you can find in the browser. That is my padding or not. Okay, if you want to give like a padding top, padding top, if you want to give 50 pixel, you can give it. Okay, same like this, padding bottom also I want to give, bottom also I want to give. So this, okay, 4 sides. Okay, that means padding left, top, right, bottom I given or not. See this, the gap between border to content, we can say like a padding. Now I applied the padding like left, right, top, bottom, 50 50 50 50 or not. So if you want to apply the padding for 4 sides, not only in this way, we can apply the padding in different way also. See here, how many properties are there? 4 properties you applied. Okay, instead of applying the 4 properties to my padding, okay, just simply you can write a padding. Only one property you can write it. We can apply 4 sides padding here. You can apply 4 sides padding here. What are those? Okay, just you can apply 10 pixel. If I apply like this padding to 10 pixel, now it's take like all sides, left, top, right, bottom, like 10 pixel only or not. For example, if we apply like the padding 10 pixel and then 20 pixel, if I apply like this, how it's going to work, the 10 pixel series, top is like 10 pixel. Okay, next, right is like 20 pixel, right is like 20 pixel, bottom is not there, so that it's take my opposite value, bottom is like 10 pixel, left also not there, so it's take like opposite value, right value or not. It's like a clockwise direction, first top and then right and then bottom and then left. For example, you apply like the third value also there, 50 pixels. Okay, now see, my top is like 10, my right is like 20 and my bottom is like 50, but my left is not there, then the time you can take like opposite value or not. Now if you want to apply the right value also, the left value also here, 100 pixel, yes, you can apply like this. See this, my 10 pixel is like top, 20 pixel is like right, 50 pixel is like bottom, 100 pixel is like left or not. This is the way we can apply padding. So how we can define the padding means the gap between my content to border, we can say like a padding. Now come to the next discussion. Okay, which one? My content done, my border done, my padding done. The next one is like a margin. What is margin means? Okay, just refresh my page. Just refresh my page. What is margin means? Very simple thing. The gap between one element border to another element border, we can say like a margin. One element border to another element border. So that, say this is my div, right? Okay, this is my div, right? This is my body, right? So three elements are there if you observe: body, div, and para. Can we give the border for these three elements? Just give it. For my body, I'm giving border. Say this, my border 2 pixel solid red. Okay, this is my body border. This is my div. Can I give the div border? Okay, my border 2 pixel solid blue. Okay, this is my div border. My para, for this para also can we give the border, my border 2 pixel solid. Okay, just you can give like green. Okay, this is my para border. Now you can define the gap between one element border to another element border. That one we can say like what, padding or not. See here, this is my para top border, this is my para top border, and this is my such div bottom border. There has some gap is there, right? That gap we can say like margin or not. So already there is gap is there. Which margin that is means? By default my para has the margin top 16 pixel or not. See that red shade. By default my para has the margin top is like 16 pixel or not. Now you can define the margin. See the gap between one element border to another element border, we can say like a margin with respect of my para. This gap is like top gap or not, margin top. Okay, with respect of my div, can I give some margin bottom? If you want gap to my para, okay, div and para, if you want to give some gap for my div, with respect to my div, the margin should be what, bottom or not. So can I give like a margin bottom? Now if you come here, my margin my bottom equals to 100 pixel, for example. Now see this, my div border is this one, my para border is this one. The gap between one element border to another element border, we can say like what, margin. With respect to my div, my margin bottom is how much, 100 pixels. So that, say this, for my div the margin bottom is 100 pixels, so that there has some gap is there or not. This border to this border, how much gap, 100 pixel. With respect to my para, how much gap is there? Okay, with respect to my para, margin top is 20 or 16 pixel, or 16 pixel margin top. So that from here it's traveling up to here, it's like a 16 pixel or not. The gap between one element border to another element border. For example, this is the div. I want to give some left margin left for the 100 pixel. If I give like this, see this is my body border, this is my body border, left side my body border is there. So that this border to this border gap is how much, 50 pixel or 100 pixel. Margin left is like 100 pixel or not. For the margin top, if you want to give margin top equals to 100 pixel. Now see top, which one is there, border of my body, this border to my div border gap is how much, 100 pixel or not. The element, one border element to another border element, the gap between one element border to another element border, we can say like what, margin or not. Okay, if you give like margin right also, margin right, okay, 100 pixel. If you give like this, see this, Okay, from here, this border to this border, right border to this border, how much gap is there? 100 pixel or not? So the gap between one element border to another element border, we can say like what? Margin. Now here you applied like what? Top, left, bottom, right, all, or like what? Four properties you added. Instead of writing like four properties, you can write within a single property that is called as a margin. If you put like 100 pixel, it's going to be applied for what? It's going to be applied for all sides or not? Same like padding, it's going to work. So finally conclude all these things. Content is nothing but the which is visible to the end user. We can say like a content. Border is nothing but the element bounds it's going to represent. Padding is nothing but the gap between content to border. We can say like a padding. Margin is nothing but one element border to another element border. We can say like a margin or not. All these things we can say like a box model. Thanks guys. Thanks for watching.